Good evening. Welcome to Oaklawn Capping Hour. Can you guys hear me okay?
Gotcha.
Yeah. All right. So this is going to be a great show where, everybody's in for the Christmas cheer. Everybody, I'd like to welcome you to Nick Tammaro. Nick is, no stranger to contest play. Many of you horse players have seen him through the years in various contests. And now, as many of you know, Nick is not only a race caller at Sam Houston Race Park, but in my opinion, he's one of the top 3 callers in the country. And I wish more people could hear you, Nick, when you call the races. I know people in Texas know you very well, and as far as calling the races, but I really think you're awesome at calling the races.
I appreciate that very much, Steve. Merry Christmas, everybody. Glad to be with you. Yeah, hopefully good news on that situation soon. So no, can't tease anything too definitive, but we're making some progress on that front. So I think if I was a betting man, I would bet that the signals in Texas get out at some point in 2026.
That would be, wow. Okay. Hey, there's a little birdie flying around somewhere. I'm not going to, disrupt that thing. Fly away,
I'm hopeful
birdie.
that Lone Star doesn't get all the benefit of it and we get none, but hey, we'll take even if we can get a little bit, we'll take it.
I've had the benefit of obviously going to Sam Houston many times for your contest, and we have a wonderful contest coming on the 24th. There's actually a preliminary tournament where you're giving out some NHC seats the day before on the 23rd. Tell us a little bit about those contests.
Yeah, so really excited that we're doing it again. 4th annual. We started referring to it as the Houston Betting Championship a couple of years ago, but this is going to be the 5th year in a row we're hosting an NHC contest. On the 23rd of January, we're going to do a $500 qualifier that will award 2 NHC spots and at least 2 bankrolls to Saturday's event. And for the top 4, that'll be $500. It's all bankroll. We can't take an entry fee in Texas, so whatever you're left with is yours. And then on Saturday, the main event, 2 NHC seats, 2 Breeders' Cup Betting Challenge. I'm sorry, 4 NHC seats, 2 Breeders' Cup Betting Challenge seats on Saturday. That's a $1,500 live money bankroll. You have to bet $750 of it on Sam Houston in $150 in 5 different races. You can bet the other $750 however you see fit on simulcast racing. That includes Gulfstream, that's Pegasus Day, as well as Santa Anita and Aqueduct. So we'll decide on those races once those cards are drawn. Oaklawn is dark that weekend. Otherwise, obviously, Oaklawn would have been part of our offering. They're a huge signal for us, really our highest handling signal on track this time of year. So that's what's on deck. And if you send in your entry fee, which is all bankroll, of course, we give it to you in the form of a player's card to start playing the contest. But the first 20 who do that are going to be given free hotel rooms at the Comfort Suites right by the racetrack. So a couple of nights free helps you offset some of that cost. And we want to get everybody down here and enjoy it. Late January is a great time of year to be in Houston. I know you guys have been, so it could be a lot worse if you come from a colder climate. And we're expecting some good racing that day as well. We've been working really hard on getting some nominations for the stakes races and hoping that we've got a really fun event and have everybody here for it.
Yeah, absolutely. I love the contest. They come, I've been coming for, I think, 4 or 5 years in a row now, or since you've had it. And the whole staff, everybody, Texas Mike, and of course, Trey Styles, who I guess might be calling some races or something. But I told Texas Mike this a few times, and I've told you and some other people. I've had the pleasure of going to Arlington Park a lot before they tore that venue down, which is pretty sad. But the best turf course in the country, in my opinion, right now, with Arlington Park being gone, in my opinion, is Sam Houston Race Park. They have the most beautiful turf course that I have seen in the country. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, we really do. And thank you for the compliment. Arlington was a big time favorite of mine. And that's why I barely qualify for the NHC anymore. I used to qualify I qualified at Arlington 3 years in a row. But yeah, we've been blessed with a very good turf course, obviously a climate that's very conducive to growing grass. And what we do every year in mid-November or so, depending on the weather, is overseed our turf course with rye that by the time it catches, it really brings it into a really kind of a lush looking, thick turf course that really weathers well it winters well, I should say. So it's looking good. We got some cool weather down here shortly after we overseeded. Ironically, it's about 80 degrees right now, but it's supposed to be a high of 52 on Monday, which is good. We kind of want cooler weather to help the grass really set in. So we've got 3 carded on it on opening night, and we'll use it. I don't want to say sparingly. We'll go 2 or 3 per night leading up to Houston Racing Festival. We'll keep the rail out and then drop it down that week. So we should get some nice fresh grass to run on. But it is a very, very good turf course. And part of the reason why we showcase it for both the John Connolly Turf Cup and the Bob Bork Texas Turf Mile that we'll have on that Houston Racing Festival program.
Yeah, I love it. And, yeah, Oaklawn, they decided not to run. They're taking a winter break or something. So this will be the first year that I don't see Oaklawn there, but I'll be probably playing most of my bankroll locally there. Maybe I'll throw some money on the Pegasus when I come down, but it will be lots of fun. Marco, how are you doing? I saw a text. You hit a,
no, I didn't hit it.
Oh, good.
I needed Ben Franklin in that last race. He ran all right, but he broke dead last. He got stuck in the gate.
Oh, okay. Well, so you didn't make money. Okay, I thought you won money. We just had a horse run third at Fairgrounds, Lady of the Sky on the turf, making her turf debut. We were pretty happy with the result. I was hoping we could have wired today. It looked like it was a little speedy out there on the turf course. We ran third, and we'll give her another crack on the turf for the family horses. Okay, Marco, weather report. It looks like it's going to be really nice down in Hot Springs. It's nice now. It's going to be 72 and partly cloudy on Saturday.
Yeah, and it's nice right now. I actually have no idea why I'm even wearing this hoodie, but okay. It's going to be sunny and like just beautiful. So you can.
Yeah, I got 72 degrees, partly cloudy, so it's not going to rain. Should have a fast main track. And, I looked at the picks. I do all my handicapping, and then I ask, our guest to send the picks in. And, of course, Marco, I have you send ours in. We got a few that are the same, and the first race, we'll dive right into it for the Classix, which is race 5 on the program. Guys, we all landed on the same horse here in the first leg of the Classix. It's the 8 horse. She's So Cole. My notes were half to Holland Ice, who's a really nice Arkansas bred, trained by our friend out there in Florida.
Savvy Joseph Jr.
Yeah, Savvy Joseph. Marco, you want to, or actually, Nick, why don't you start us off with this one? We all like it. Tell us what you like about her.
Yeah, I mean, I think it goes without saying, both with the start that Lindsay Schultz has had at the meet to our picks and the fact this horse debuted against Open Maiden Special Weight Company at Churchill, there isn't a chance in hell she's going to be 9-2. She's going to be more like 8-5, which, it happens. These races tend to run together a little bit. And 2-year-olds can be tough because you're dealing with a lot of first-time starters. And if you don't have the benefit of workout information, it can be tricky. But, yeah, She's So Cole went off 42-1 first time out. Obviously not a huge expectation that an Archie bred would get a lot of money in an open company race at a place like Churchill. And I thought it was just a good going through the motions kind of effort. Showed a little early speed, backed out. Lindsay's a trainer who actually does fine with first-time starters, but this horse undoubtedly gained a ton from doing that. I think the real question, guys, is you brought up Paul and I, Steve. This horse is being stretched out, and so that's the thing, is that Lindsay thinks that she's more of a 2-turn filly, whereas Hall and Ice was always just a sprinter, a very good one at that. So that'll really be the main question. Secret Slew felt like the other horse to me. She's a little chalky. I think you guys have some other ideas on secondary horses, but it looks to me like She's So Cole should be awfully tough here.
Yeah, for me, my backup here, I just went with John Ortiz, who's won some races down at Oaklawn. This horse had a very, very, very ugly race there, and I'm just hoping maybe on the stretch out it can do something. Marco, you landed on the 5 as your backup. Oaklawn Classix for Randy Morse. It's a golden cents out of it. Include mare. The work tab looks okay. Any other ideas on that one? Randy doesn't really do well with 2-year-olds, but no big deal.
No, but he's 18%, with maidens. So, and this horse hasn't been, working out bad in the mornings. I think there's a little bit of promise here, and 12-1 would be a good, line to bet to try to get paid a little bit.
Or maybe throw in your exotics, exactas, something like that. It's, a lot of the races today, guys, we're dealing with all 2-year-olds where everything's wide open. I don't have a lot of race replays, unfortunately, because of the lack of races. A cool thing, though, guys, you guys, and I've showed these before, and I'll bring up a work later in the show. If you go to Oaklawn's website, they have not live, they have recorded work replays. And it's really cool to see some of these young ones in action in the morning when you can't see them, any PPs or anything like that. So I encourage you guys to go to the website, Oaklawn's website, to check out the works on tape. All right, so 8 here. We got the we got Lindsay Schultz, Hot Barn, Arietta, no stranger winning races at Oaklawn. We'll see if the Cold Front, the filly sired by Cold Front, can get the mile. This is a short stretch of a mile. Yeah, short stretch of a mile. Get in position early and do something as an Arkansas bred. Race 6 to kick off the second leg of the Classix is also a 2-year-old race. These are all 2-year-old races. It's an open 50 maiden claiming event. We're going 3/4. And when I pulled up the picks here, Marco, me and you both landed on the 2, but Nick, you liked the 6 on top. McFasty, who is the 2-1 morning line favorite, has a lot of, foundation under it. What did you like about the McPeak runner?
Yeah, I thought, I was kind of Captain Obvious here. Just faster, speed figure wise. McPeak's horses have all shown up ready to run from the first race of the meet, which he won with Authentic Cat, who's running a little bit later on this card. And, while this horse has really elevated his game the last 2 times on sealed racetracks, I think that probably has more to do with experience than it does that he necessarily was some kind of mudlark. I guess we'll find out here. And so to me, as I tried to sift through some of the form of the other experienced horses, I got a little eyes crossed, I think, by the end of it. So it ended up that I just went with McFasty, not a horse that I would be looking to really stand on with any great amount of gusto, but one that I felt like was probably likely enough and should handle the 2-turn trip, the cutback up to 6 furlongs, which generally I'm a huge fan of the cutbacks. Not something that Peak does all that often or with all that great amount of success. It's very much in line with the rest of his numbers. But I think based on the improvement we saw at Churchill and Keeneland in September and October, sprinting is probably what this horse wants to do.
Yeah, I agree. The race at Churchill on a fast track for 150 was a nice effort, just losing by a nose. And, you have some excuses maybe off track, although the number came back a little bit quicker that day and it ran an incredible race. But it's a good spot. It's running here to win. And McPeak, is kind of killing it right now. He's 4 out of 7, and this one looks prime to make some damage. The 11, Little Crush, ran a pretty good race in debut up in Chicago. I kind of remember this race. I think the winner that day was a DeVito runner. Let me double check.
Yeah, came back and finished second in the Tinsel, I think, on opening day.
Yeah.
For the Advent.
Yeah. And it got a nice number there. So that was a good company line to deal with. And that leads me over to my pick. Marco, I don't know how you feel about it, but okay, here's the deal. Yes, this horse ran against Further Ado. It ran against White Tiger, an Englishman, and it got absolutely destroyed. But, we have a lot of things going on here. We had a little bit of time off. We're taking the hood off. We got the nuts off angle. That's the Carl Broberg nuts off angle. He always laughs. Actually, I laugh when he says that, so I'm using it. And now we're dropping in for a tag, and we're cutting back. There's a lot of different things here for a horse that's going to, be 12-1 or more. Matt Williams, 27% from a small sample size with these little layoffs. And the horse should wake up with all the equipment changes and just running against easier company today. So I said, you know what, at 12-1, let's take a stab with Highly Connected. Marco, what did you think on this one?
Pretty much everything you just said. And the date of the gelded was just not too long ago. So he hasn't worked since then, or ran obviously. So I'm 12-1's a good morning line, and I'm curious to see how all this is going to come into play. So
yeah, a note on the gelding thing. I don't know if that's when it was actually gelded. I think they geld these things, and then the paper. I don't know if you know, Nick, but the dates on these dates gelded, typically they don't match up with the actual date that the nuts got cut, so to speak. So yeah, double check into that, Marco. I'll do more research on that. That's what I've heard, but
no, you're exactly right about that. So that's the date at which it was reported. So yeah, right. I mean, there's no way this horse got snipped 6 days ago and is running back. That was the time. So he's been away, and that was the time where Williams reported him as a gelding. So that was as long as it's in advance of him running.
Yeah. So look, I think a lot of times we've cut horses before. My dad has, and they didn't do anything, and then other ones they really woke up a lot. They just focus more and they got their mind on racing. So it is a good angle a lot of times, and just a lot of other things, including dropping in class. Marco, the 5 is your backup. Turin, I kind of like this one a little bit too. It is second time blinkers. It did get destroyed against Decode, who's going to be pointing to, I believe they said, the Southwest. So you got clobbered against a Kentucky Derby hopeful there. You're just thinking it'll wake up on the class drop.
Yeah, class drop is always a big, easier race. And the right track, I think Steve Asmussen is on a mission this year. Personally, that's what I think. I think he's spotting his horses pretty good, where they're going to be winners. So yeah, his kid is actually 30. His son is 31% right now. I mean, he's not riding this guy, but like I said, I think he's on a mission.
Yeah, Marco, if you remember last year, Asmussen got off to a horrendous start. He was like 8-9% for the first 2 months into the meet. He did catch fire later on in the meet, but he's off to a faster start this year as opposed to last. My backup's the 8 Brosnan and the other Asmussen. This is one that was just speed fade. A lot of time, making dirt debut, second time blinkers. A lot of times these speed faders, second time on dirt, they kind of keep going a little bit further this time around. So we'll see what happens. It's a wide open race. These 2-year-old races are really interesting. We're going to move on to the next. Race 7 is a main special weight event for fillies going 3/4. And, there's some blue bloods in here. Let's see. Nick, we're all over the place. 5, 6, 7 between us. We got 8s and 5s in the backup spots. Mark will start us off with the 6, who is Run On States.
Well, we got a good big morning line here. I think this horse is bred pretty well. The dam, one for one overall, and then her mom was a multi-graded stakes winner. And you got a recent race on the 16th of November, and also Esquivel is, in my opinion, one of the better jockeys. So you're getting second off a little layoff here. I think this horse should be primed and ready to run.
Yeah, Medina's got 4 starts at the meet, already a win and a second. And, so that's good news there. I like the second off the layoff angle, a little bit of a better post here. Broke a bit in, it said last time. And because I'm lazy, I didn't watch the replay by going to my advanced wagering site for Churchill Downs, but could have got slightly compromised there. Nick, you got the 7, Mark Cassie, no stranger to winning races. This is looks like a really nice filly by City of Light out of an AP Indy mare, which you don't see too many of those anymore. This horse has been working great. Christian Torres is in the irons. There's a lot to like.
Yeah, Private Ensign was a really nice mare. She was a 3-time winner. She was stakes placed. She looked like a horse who was cut out to be pretty nice, and then ended up having to stop as a early season 3-year-old, and came back and just wasn't quite the same. So she was prematurely retired. and has gone to her foals have been fine. There's nobody that's been a superstar. Military Road was probably the best of them. He's a horse who ran somewhat recently for Christophe Clement and then for Miguel. There was another Great Sister Diane was better on the turf, which is not shocking. Polio Flag was fine. So they've all been solid. There's not been a star by any means, but they've all been solid. This horse, they gave, I would say, probably a modest amount of money for a horse with this kind of pedigree, but it's a very route-oriented mare being paired up with City of Light, who, as good as City of Light has been as a stallion, I think there's still a question mark as to what his preferred sort of pairing is. And this horse's workouts look good. I mean, I didn't watch any of them, but that December 12th drill looks pretty solid. Mark Cassie's a guy that I think the fact that he's sprinting her, I'm going to take as a good sign, because really the damn side of that pedigree is a little more route-oriented. And so I thought she was the right horse to kind of take a shot with. I didn't have a big problem with the 8 Joke Maker either, who I picked second.
Okay. I'll take a look at Joke Maker did make a lot of sense there. I have that as my backup as well. My top pick, I mean, I hate going chalky in races like this. I've been hearing a lot of buzz about this filly, and at least from some of the people down there that watched it work. And I have the work on tape here. It worked against let me see. There we go. It worked against one of the horses in this race. I'll get back. I think it's Hartman's Runner. Hartman's Runner is in the second here. They worked out of the gate together. They didn't show it, but this thing just worked super fast. 59-4. Almost looks like just the ears are cocked forward. The guy's kind of like a statue here. I wish the guy with the video would have got the gallop out a little bit more, but I guess he's trying to get some of the other works here. She just got away from these. And is he gonna run? Just had a sensational work here. Now, I know it's the morning. I know it's just a bullet work in the morning, but it was extremely fast. And, you can see the exercise rider just looking underneath his arm there. And there's Black Magic River for Hartman, who is also in this race at 8-1. But point being, it just looked visually like a nice work. And if you want to pair a work with something, I don't have much else to go with as far as a race like this. There's hardly not any past performances outside of what you see here. And she just looks like I guess a nice purchase. I mean, 635,000 is a pretty penny. They must have really liked what they're seeing out of it so far. So 59 and change, handling out of the gate, ready to go. Clockers like it. We'll see if it computes in the morning or in the AM, PM, excuse me.
It's an interesting combo there too, because Isabella Sings was a really good turf horse that Todd Pletcher trained, who I believe she nearly beat Tepin when Tepin was really at her best. She may have even beaten her at Tampa once, and really, was really, really good. Or actually, Tepin ran her down in the Hillsborough. That's what it was in March of 16. And she was really solid production-wise. All 4 of her foals to race are winners. And pairing her up with Gunrunner, of course, is interesting because he's not only one of the best stallions out there right now, but more of a dirt producer, obviously. So we'll see how that translates. But, no doubt this horse should be quick. That work looked great. I mean, she was silky smooth. Yeah. And I'd love to have seen what part of it earned the designation handily, right? Because they have it handily out of the gate, and Oaklawn clockers are a little bit more like the Northeast, more so than the West Coast, where everybody breezes, and then the handily out of the gates, you don't see that often. I guess they maybe got her going a little bit out of the gate, but either way, she looked awfully good coming by the wire.
Yeah, she also has a sibling here that won with an 80 by her speed figure in debut, Tello, a couple years ago at Aqueduct, and then won a stake. So you got some precociousness early there, and we already mentioned the broodmare. So I don't know. I think built to run early and fast. So we'll see what happens. The price isn't great, but I threw her on top. All right. Moving right along in the classics. We'll go to the fourth leg, which is the Year's End. What is this race called? They got new races all the time. This is called the
Year's End.
Marco, do you know the name? Just the Year's End?
Year's End stake. It's been around. I think it was last year too, or maybe 3 years now. I forget. it's not like brand new, but
yeah,
it's pretty new.
All right. Nick, me and you landed on the same horse, but I want to give Marco the opportunity to make a case for Authentic Cat for Kenny McPeak, who won pretty impressively here on opening weekend.
Yeah, Authentic Cat looked really good winning that race, and it was here at Oaklawn. Once the motor started going, she just ran and didn't stop. And McPeak is having a heck of a, like you said, meet so far, and the connections are just one of the top at the track. Just watching her run that last race on a visual made my decision between Asmussen's runner, Copper Wind, who should also be ready to run in this race. I think, like I said, Asmussen, I think, is spotting his horse is really good. And I think he sees something in her as well. But on a visual, that race just looked too good.
Yeah, I've got a replay of it here. What number is she here? She's going to be making a move.
The gray.
The gray, right? The gray. Okay. Yeah, she came off the pace, came up the rail, angles out here, and on the chart it looks like she's just going to blow these away here. Couple of taps.
Yeah, kind of like an easy run. Ears are kind of just not fully back.
Yeah, she won impressively there. And, if McPeak's going to wheel a young horse like this back, this is a 2-year-old race. This is the only time you're going to get to run in a 2-year-old race. You could shelve her for a little bit or just give her 6 weeks off until you think about what you want to do with her after that. So I don't mind after the debut bringing her back quick, especially with an outfit like Kenny McPeak's. Nick, me and you land on the 3, and we're on Scott's Law. My notes were well. I'll tell you what. Why don't you let me know what you thought about Scott's Law?
Yeah, I mean, 2-turn experience, a lot like Authentic Cat. This horse is a 2-time winner as well, the only one in the field. And I don't necessarily put a ton on that, but I do think it matters. I wish that Miss Call, who was third to her last time, had come back and run a little bit better in the Untappable. But that being said, I thought Scott's Law ran very well considering she was in the mix. Sias took her off of it, waited inside, and then she went ahead and ran on through in the final quarter or so. It was a good effort all in all. It probably really helped her build a little bit more foundation. She should have some speed. Sias is back on. I think from the inside, she'll be forwardly placed, but I'm not all that concerned about her sitting a little bit off of it, which she proved. She got the best thoroughgraph number of the route horses in the race. The best thoroughgraph number by far is Copper Wind's win on debut. But I thought there was a little room to move forward. And the note that I have clocking wise is that her December 13th drill was very strong. So she ended up working in company with a horse named Bourbon Coma, who's running a little bit earlier on this card. So keep a tab on Bourbon Coma, and that might give you a little bit better line on Scott's Law.
Yeah, I'm going to go back and watch that replay. And again, I showed you guys the replay of the last race or 2 races back on Oaklawn's website. So yeah, 2 for 2 on fast dirt is what I got. Half to stakes winner Scottish Lassie, who was a router, so that's good. And of course, like you mentioned, love Luis Sias. He's my favorite jockey. I mean, he's such a big money rider, and I've made so much money with him hopping on a horse for the first time. So although he did ride, this filly last time, but I really like this runner here at 6-1. I'm excited to place a rather large wager on this filly, and we'll see if we get 6-1 there. And again, I'll show you the filly here, Scottish Lassie, who has run actually a grade 1 winner. So yeah, we'll see. The apple doesn't fall far from the tree, right?
Just agree for sure. I mean, I think we talked a little bit about Copper. We each mentioned Copper Wind at some point. We all picked her second. Yeah. This Asmussen has a very average number stretching 2-year-olds out on dirt, just 14% with $1.06 ROI. I wonder sometimes if some of these fairgrounds maiden special weight races are on par with Oaklawn. I think that was kind of my only real worry. But look, I mean, this filly makes perfect sense to me. I'm hardly going to be surprised. Honestly, guys, I made 5 picks in here. Like I picked a 2, 5, 8, 9. So I'm not going to be surprised if any of those 5 win. I think you're either doing like you're alluding to, Steve, and planting a flag with the 3, or you're giving yourself as many options as possible.
Yeah, absolutely. These are all young horses. Anything can happen. They all have that light bulb that can go off at any time. But this is going to be a fun race and a prelude to the Azeri. Not the Azeri, the
Honeybee.
Yeah, the fantasy. Later on in the meet. So the winner or even the runner-up can, move ahead, and we'll see what happens. Possible Oaks too. So let's watch this race with a lot of interest tomorrow. All right, race 9 is a maiden optional claiming for $75,000. It's a restricted race somehow, probably for horses that I'm not sure what the condition is.
RN8 or purchased for 75 or less.
Okay. So these were at a sale that have.
Or you can put them in for 75. That gets you in the race as well.
Okay, so that's an interesting condition. Only Oaklawn. Okay. Well, I was thinking outside of the box, so I'll kick this thing off. I went with Buckeye favorite here, and the race 2 back had some good runners in there, and it got in the mix a little bit, and then just couldn't keep up with them. This race is going to be easier than that Keeneland race. My other notes here, you could throw the sprint on the turf out. The other races are pretty good. The race at Saratoga was pretty solid. You had a couple of next out winners in there. Stakes placed runner in there with Paige Turner that was in that race at Saratoga. So, I feel like fast dirt sprinting and dropping, maybe this one can do something at 15-1, going down the ladder a little bit. I've seen worse bombs, and we got to have a price somewhere. Marco, you're on the 6. We both have the 3 as the backup. Tell us about Army's Marauder. Am I pronouncing that right?
Yep.
Army's Marauder. I think, Army Mule gives 18% with 2-year-old firsters, so that's pretty good. Christopher Davis is 17% with the first start angle. This is a first-time starter. And this horse was sold for that maximum $75,000. He's not in for the tag. The mornings are a little light, but he's got some footing underneath him on the strip. And Christian Torres linked up with Christopher Davis. I thought it was a pretty good connection. So you got a good trainer that can train young horses, and you got Christian Torres, who's one of the top riders on the meet, with a sire that produces a high percentage on first-time starters.
Okay. Yeah, there's Russian Alphabet is one of the half siblings here. Was in decent form and it quit running in 23 there, but for a race of this caliber, a lot of the ones that are dropping down the ladder you want to look at, or maybe there's something like this firster that can pop. Nick, you're on the 9, which is Yes Julia for Donnie Von Himmel.
Yeah, Donnie Von Himmel, second-time starter, turf to dirt. Been a good angle for Donnie over the years. It's a limited sample, but he's not quite as good as those last 2-year numbers, but around 20%. So I thought this horse was probably one that just got some education first time out. Donnie's not a guy that's going to really put the screws to him to get out there first out, but obviously a better trainer overall, percentage-wise at a place like Oaklawn than in Kentucky. And this is a horse with actually a pretty decent pedigree, all things considered. They only gave 75 for the daughter of McLean's Music. So I felt like I could make a case for her improving. She'll be a good price. I also like the 10 Huck's Agenda, who last time out was wide, making a late move on a muddy track at Fairgrounds, should benefit from experience. McPeak's really good with second-time starters, and this is a jockey that might not garner some of the support that an Esquivel or another rider that McPeak would use could. So I think we'll end up getting every bit of that 9-2, if not a little bit more, because you've got, first of all, you've got another McPeak in there, and that horse is going to eat up some money, and a few others that I think will get some support as well. It's also a tricky spot for this race to be situated, right? With it being the second to last race of the day, you're not going to get any insight from the board whatsoever.
Yeah, the $5 late double will be in effect with this race going into the last. And Marco, me and you also like Steel Girl for Eddie Keneally. I did pick his other winner at the meet on top in one of our previous shows. And, he's no stranger to winning races through the years, gets Arietta on this filly. It's an Uncle Mo out of Verrazano. What did you like about it outside of what I added?
Horse is really training well. Just leading up to this, probably the reason for the 5-1 morning line. I couldn't ignore that. Having not trained on the Oaklawn surface kind of is the reason why I put her behind my top pick, Army's Marauder. Francisco Arietta is right now some people's pick to be the jockey title winner at Oaklawn. So I mean, he's riding really good. There's a lot of good things to like about this horse.
Yeah, this could be a lethal combination. He piloted his other win for Eddie, and 5-1. It's square. It's not going to get you too excited, but it's at the same time not even money. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, Buckeye favorite. I don't know. I got a hunch on this one. I'm hoping I can capture that race back at New York against some really good runners in there. Tyler Bacon, who had a good day today. I think he won 3 races today. So we'll see what happens. He was 1 for 27 coming in. So hopefully he's getting hot at the right time. All right, we're going to close out the Classix, which is a $1 wager. Mark, there's not a carryover, is there, like last time?
I don't know. I'd imagine somebody hit it today.
Somebody hit it today, maybe, or maybe.
I don't think. Well, today's wasn't that tough to hit.
Okay.
I couldn't.
Yes, somebody hit it today for 4,300, so there's no carryover.
Yeah. All right, no carryover. All right. Race 10, we got some recency here. It's an optional claiming 50 starter allowance. We're going to 2 turns, short stretch of the mile. So at least we have something to look at here. As far as our picks, Marco and Nick land on the same runner, the 8. The 10's popular with me and Marco as our backup. I landed on the 9. I'll start us off. The 9 is just like Max. It's 15-1. I watched the replay of the race 2 back. It had some issues in there. It did finish pretty good in there outside of the winner who got away and ran a big race, misinformation. This one actually, by maybe 5-6 lengths, had the best closing 3/16 in the race and galloped out well. So, and that was at 6.5. Now we go a little longer in this spot, right? This is, the short stretch of the mile. So I'm hoping this one, maximum security out of a Tisnau mare. Maybe it'll appreciate a little extra distance. The other 2 races were good. When I see a horse win first asking, even if it's a cheaper race, it kind of tells me the horse has a little bit of talent. That was a maiden claiming event, but it was at Churchill Downs, and it did win by 7. I mentioned the issues in the race 2 back. And then last time, just an even effort in a tough, somewhat of a tough race. Anything in Kentucky's tough. I guess you could call this a lateral race, or probably an easier race, or at least a lateral race today. But I'm hoping I improve on the stretch out today. 15-1. And Gennaro Garcia is a guy that I've made some money with through the years at Oaklawn, and he used to send horses up to Chicago and won a lot of races up at Hawthorne through the years. And I'm excited about this one at 15-1. I got my late double. If I hit it, I only have to bet $5. It'll pay thousands of dollars, but I'm 15-1 over 15-1 to close out the Oaklawn card. Marco, we'll talk about the backups in a minute. Why don't you tell us a little bit about French Knight, and we'll get Nick's insight on it as well.
Well, you got McPeak and Esquivel again. Deadly combination. You got some recency. Second off, shipping in from the fairgrounds off of win, which I don't know. Some of the fairgrounds runners are hit or miss here sometimes. I don't think they're doing all that great, but nevertheless, That was a winning move there in the slot. And he also got a multi-stake graded stakes winning dam, three out of 5. She went, one of those stakes races went to the barn to be a broodmare, almost $300,000 in earnings. I thought this one was the one to beat, and I don't think we're going to get 8-1 morning line. I think we're probably going to cut that in half. Personally, that's what I think.
Yeah, lots of nice siblings. I'll never forget reading the form, and I remember Curlin winning on debut for Helen Pitts, and obviously they sold Curlin for a lot of money, but I remember she was the conditioner. Nick, tell us a little bit about French Knight as well.
Yeah, so funny 30-second vignette about Curlin. I have a good friend at Sam Houston who's a regular. He's a horse owner as well. And he was dating a girl who worked for Helen Pitts, and he was at Gulfstream that winter. And he said, I would really never ask her about the horses in their barn or anything. And so one day she said to me, by the way, it was a Friday, they were at dinner, and she said, by the way, the horse we're running tomorrow is supposed to be really good. And he looks really good. And he's like, what's the name? She said, it's like Curling or something like that. And he said, oh, okay, good. And he said, I sat in the grandstand as the horse was winning and was like, all right, she knew what she was talking about. But so French Knight, just a horse that I like the way McPeak backed off a little bit, gave him some time. He came back with a vastly improved effort. And one of the things I've noticed, and the stats that I'm about to read bear it out, but I felt like over the last year or so, McPeak's been better stretching horses out. So last 5 years, stretching out 2-year-olds on the dirt, McPeak is 20% with a $1.88 ROI. In the last 2 years, he's 19% with a $1.90 ROI. In the last year alone, he's 31% with a $3.15 ROI. So, I mean, the numbers have just skyrocketed. This is a horse based on those pedigrees that we saw of some of those horses on the dam side and French Park herself. This is all distance, right? Even with it being a midnight loot, I think this colt's going to really benefit from more ground. And the interesting thing to me about this race, guys, is that all the speed's on the outside. And so they're going to have to cook early in order to get the tempo going, because After Party and Opus Uno both look like speed. I almost wonder if Peter Miller will end up scratching Opus Uno because he doesn't want to stretch this horse out from the 12. That's a really tough spot to do it from because they're going to have a hard time getting over, even with the longer run going a mile, especially with speed immediately to his inside. So that kind of made me feel a little bit better about French Knight, who I think still has plenty of upside. And while he'll have to run better, I think there's at least a reasonable expectation that he could.
Boy, that's a great case. You just dropped the odds to 5-1. No, that was really good insight. I loved when you dug into those numbers. The 31% thing caught my eye, and then I did scan at the siblings, and they're all really nice siblings, and of course the broodmare.
Bunch
really
of them.
Yeah. This is good stuff. Marco, the 10. Kid Charlemagne is, I guess I respect the California angle, the California speed, but that was for 50 and it did romp. I did look at it. It really didn't beat a lot in there. The price looks a little bit too low, but I figured if it got in position, it would at least be in the mix. And you got Christian Torres, but it's kind of an unattractive backup pick, I will admit. But they took the hood off last time after trying it twice, and it really woke up on the class drop.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I thought the horses woke up and can handle the distance on the dirt, and I had a decent work on the 20th. So, I mean, it makes sense, but that line is a little bit too cheap for me to put my money on. So you might want to. Yeah,
it was a route race, and it kind of figured a little bit. I don't know how I'll bet this race. I don't know how. I mean, maybe I'll spread down there. I mean, again, you have to, these 2-year-old races, you have to pick your spots and get a little thin somewhere. Otherwise, your ticket's going to be, $800. We don't want that. I typically like to, when I play the classics, I don't like my ticket to be more than, $180. I mean, I like to keep it down in that mid $100 range. Anything more than that, I'm like, I'm just throwing stuff in there.
It's a lot of money to tie up.
Yeah. You could do your A, B's, and C's. I mean, our good friend Dylan Donnelly, he likes to bet several, pick fives or sixes, and he'll have his A wager that's like $2, and then he'll have a B one and a C and a D. And then sometimes he'll hit it several times or once, or obviously zero. But having the 10 in there, we'll see what happens. Nick, the one down on the rail is Herb's Bolt. Was claimed for 30 by Joe Sharp. You have Saez on there, and it did win last time on the slop, sprinting at 6.5. Why not, right? Give it a rip.
Yeah, I like the inside draw. Luis, I think, will probably put this horse into the game, which I don't want him to be on the lead, obviously, with all that speed outside, but at least in the mix. I was a little taken by Joe Sharp's number, second off the claim, off a win, which I like to look at for guys that are pretty prolific at the claim box. He's 40% with a 257 ROI. So he's a trainer that not only finds horses to claim that are in good enough form to win right back, they're often able to win 2 in a row. So that was kind of my thought there. Joe's a guy, too, over the last year or so who I've grown to really fear because he's winning a lot. And this felt like a pretty good placement with that inside post as well. They all, speed figure wise, I don't think there's a big separation between the top and the bottom here, which is why you're really not supposed to take too short a price all in all. And one thing I wanted to mention on Kid Charlemagne, who you guys both picked second, who I think I wrote down fourth if I was making 4 picks. Jonathan Thomas co-owned this horse, and he won like he did, and now suddenly he's been privately purchased and moved to a different trainer. Sean Williams, for everybody that doesn't know, is a former assistant of Robertino Diodoro, who's just been out on his own for about the last year and a half or so. You almost wonder how quickly Jonathan Thomas was picking up the phone and calling bloodstock agents and being like, "Hey, you want to buy my horse?" So because I'm guessing they paid more than the 50 he was in for that day for him. But I'm interested to see how this horse runs. I would never take him at 7-2, but I'm not going to be surprised at all if he wins this race at 7-2 or 4-1.
Yeah, I mean, and he's also protected, of course, in this spot. And the purse is 65,000, so that's better than most of your A other thans across the country. So it's an easier spot. And if it does pop, hey, give it a try in one of these allowance races that are $130,000. So and then you can start dreaming from there. But it's going to be an interesting sequence. I think we hit a lot. Let's see, Jamie, Steve-O, Fat Jamie here. Love your guys' works. Thanks, Jamie. And I hope you hit my pick of the day at Oaklawn, who is Raymond, who I gave out on my private Buy Me a Coffee group. Nick, I always close these things out with a little question here and there. Last week I asked Carl Broberg who was going to win, the Bears or the Packers. Marco, I forgot what he said, but did he say Packers?
Bears.
He said Bears. That's right. He's a Chicago guy. He's a Cub fan like me and a Bear fan. Yeah, what am I thinking? So I don't know. I didn't want to talk about who do you think is going to, because I'll see you down there and right around there. I don't know if the championship game is going to be already over or it'll be over by then.
Yeah, it'll be just over. Yeah, just the week before.
Yeah, so who's going to be in the title game, in your opinion, and who's going to win?
Yeah, this is a tough one. I mean, I'm not gonna be shocked if we get a Big Ten championship redux with Indiana and Ohio State. But I would say, as far as the next round goes, the only underdog that I think has a real chance of winning is Texas Tech, and they're barely an underdog. I think Oregon's about a 1.5 favorite. But I don't think the country really knows how good Texas Tech is. I'm not sure I know how good they are either, but they're a team with a really, really stout defense. And I think they match up favorably with Oregon because they should be able to move the ball on Oregon, and they are super opportunistic. I mean, they really create turnovers like crazy. So I'm going to go with Indiana. I'm buying the Kurt Signetti hype. I like a cocky, arrogant son of a gun. So he's definitely my type. And I'm looking
for Signetti, man. I love Signetti, man. What a coach. Michigan got a good new coach. Dave Portnoy approves, the guy from Utah.
Kyle Whittingham, yeah.
We'll see what happens there.
66 years old.
Yeah, a 5-year deal, and that's going to be interesting to see. Yeah, I'm excited about the playoffs. I'm with you. I think we're going to have a Big Ten rematch. I think we're really top heavy this year. I think those are the two best teams. They have the best defenses. They have some dynamic players in offense. The best wide receiver in the country is on Ohio State. The best quarterback, obviously, just won the Heisman, is Mendoza on Indiana. And they both have really good defenses. I haven't watched Texas Tech play a lot. Marco, I know you are a Texas guy. I was telling Carl last week, or maybe it was Texas Mike, when I think of Texas Tech, I always think of small offensive line, athletic, throw the ball every down type thing. Same thing on the defense, just smaller. But I'm hearing that the defensive line is pretty good at Texas Tech. Georgia, maybe a down year from 2 years ago, in my opinion. They're still good enough to make it as far as they have. I think Indiana is going to absolutely destroy Alabama. We'll see what happens there, but it's going to be interesting. I'm with you, Nick. Marco, who's going to meet in the title game?
Well, Indiana looks pretty damn good. I don't know. I'm going to root for Texas Tech, of course.
Okay.
I haven't really been following a whole lot of college ball this year, so I'm definitely rooting for the Texas school though. So
okay,
I'm going to go here. Indiana, I wouldn't be mad about either.
It'll be interesting. I'll be watching a lot of football this weekend. I am in the Fantasy Bowl in one of my leagues. Marco, I know you're in the Fantasy Bowl in another league that we're in. Good luck there. Nick, I don't know if you play fantasy football, but I like to see how it didn't go too good.
Yeah, we did a 2-week playoff, and the 2 weeks were not these last two, but the two before that. And my brother-in-law beat me by 2 points on the aggregate. And he pulled, I mean, we know as race trackers, but he pulled one of the absolute worst mushes on me big time too. So the Sunday night game between the Texans and the Chiefs, I had stormed to the lead, and he had Mahomes and Rashee Rice. And of course, the Texans handcuffed them defensively for the most part. So there was 30 seconds left in the game, and he sent our group text a message, and it said, "Congrats, Nick." And I was like, dude, there's 30 seconds left. There's a world of time. And Mahomes could complete some bullshit pass. And if we weren't related, I probably would have written him off at that point. But yeah, so of course, Mahomes completed a pass to Rashee Rice, gets 3 points. He beats me. And then I won the third place matchup last week. I was actually heads up with the other guy, and I had Christian McCaffrey Monday night, and he had Jonathan Taylor. And Christian McCaffrey, who all season has been incredible, had a huge game.
Yeah, I have Rashee Rice in 5 leagues, and I waited for him. The problem is I was 2-4, 1-5 in all those leagues without him, because I had Omari and Hampton, I had Bucky Irving. These guys got hurt. I also drafted Malik Neighbors in one of these leagues, and James Conner on the Cardinals. So I got obliterated along with waiting for Rashee Rice on a 7-game suspension, but I was able to make it to the Fantasy Bowl in one of my leagues. Nick, have a wonderful New Year. I'll see you soon down for the tournament, and let's cash some tickets and let's pick some winners.
Sounds great. Thank you, guys. I'll see you soon.
All right, Nick. Good seeing you again.
Absolutely.
Bye-bye.
Take it easy.